Welcome into the Michael Wall Show. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Listen, today's topic is one that is, we've done a lot of shows, and I really believe this is one of the most powerful ones that we're going to do. And I know I've had conversation about this in the past. If you've been listening to the podcast for some time, you hear me talking about the importance of your mind. And this is so crucial. So today's topic on the show is you become what you think about. Now, if you ever thought about that before, right? Did you ever think about the fact that you become what you think about? Well, you do, and I'm going to unpack that on today's show. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. This is going to be some great nuggets that we're going to be sharing all the way through that is going to help you in your life. It's going to help you really see more opportunity. It's going to help you become a parent, become a better father or mother, or become a better spouse. Just become a better worker, a business owner. Regardless of what you do, this is something that is a crucial piece, really foundational piece of your success in life. Well, hey, as always, I want to thank you if you've been joining us for some time now. I know many of you have shared comments and feedback. I love that. We love hearing that. You can always find us socially by heading over to Facebook. All you got to do is go to Michael D. Wall on Instagram. It's at Real Michael Wall, and we'd love to just hear what you have to say. Many of you have already shared your feedback on comments on the show. Wherever you're subscribing, we appreciate that as well. And as always, we want to give a thanks to our sponsors over at leanonthewall.com. So you got questions about your wealth, head over to leanonthewall.com. They can help you with that. All right, so let's talk about you become what you think about. Now, I know when I was growing up, I don't know about you, I've always heard this quote, and you've kind of heard it sent around from time to time, and the quote or the thought is, you become what you eat. Have you ever thought about that? What you eat is kind of like, hey, it's gonna make you feel good or not feel good, or it's gonna, affect your body and that kind of thing. And really, when we think about that, what's even more important, I think, than what we eat, even though that is crucial, is what we think about. So often I've heard it said before, and I know my kids and I have made it a little bit of a tradition as I take them to school in the morning. We're listening to positive things. We're looking at things from Earl Nightingale, which has shared a lot of great information on this topic, and Zig Ziglar and other folks like that. And I wanted to unpack this for you because I really believe that this is powerful. And not only is it powerful for you, but it's something that I've literally, in my own life, seen value from. And I try and share this with our children, my kids, as they're growing up, because I know that the most important thing that I can do for them is to help them with their mindset in life. Because I know, we're going to face challenging times. We've already faced challenging times. Listen, through COVID, through lockdowns, through all of these things that we face as a country, we faced challenging times. And now we realize it can sometimes come to us all, that stinking thinking, that negative thinking, like that repressed thinking of, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And that's why this is so important to realize that your thoughts can really control your life and the outcome of the level of success that you have. You become what you think about. All right, so let me share it this way. Let's say you're in a place where you are maybe a ball player. Let's say you're a baseball player and you're standing up to bat, right? And you're in a place where that pitcher's getting ready to throw the ball and you're thinking in your mind, I'm probably not going to hit this. I'm probably not going to hit this. I'm probably not going to hit. I've struck out the last 3 times I actually came up to bat against this guy. I'm probably not going to hit the ball. What do you think the chances are of that ball player hitting the ball? Way less. They're already mentally in a negative spot. They don't even think they can do it. And oftentimes if you don't think you can do it, you're not going to try. Maybe you're a parent. Maybe you're in a situation where your child, I know I have perfect kids that always listen every single time to us. And there's never any arguments in our family ever. Our kids don't argue with one another. So if yours do, well, then you're probably not doing it right. I'm kidding. Obviously, that's not real, right? What's real is kids argue with one another. It's reality. So maybe you're a parent and you're saying, Mike, how does this affect me? Well, maybe you're in a place where, you're setting the tone. Number one, as a parent, you're setting the tone in your home. Did you know that? You set the tone in your home. So if you're in a place where you are always negative and always coming down and you're not uplifting and you're not encouraging, that's a problem. Because you're sharing all of these things with your kids that are infiltrating this into their mind, and now they're in a place where they're becoming what they think about. And what are they thinking about? Well, they're thinking about what you're throwing into their brain. So that's super important. What are we helping put and plant in other people's minds? Just like you're listening to this show right now. My encouragement to you is not just to listen once, but to listen 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 15 times. Why? Because I want you to see my face if you're watching this on YouTube or video, or if you're listening to it audio, I just want you to hear my voice. No. Because what I know is that when you listen over and over and over again, you start to really get it. It starts to really sink in, and you start to actually be able to finish my sentences. And then what happens is now it's you talking and sharing these things to you instead of me sharing them to you. And why is that important? Because self-talk is one of the most important things that we're ever going to do in our own personal lives. And that's why we become what we think about. Have you ever gone to an event and you're going there and you're saying, you might say, well, I don't really talk to myself, Mike. That's people who do that are weird. I would say you do. Have you ever gone anywhere? Maybe you went to church, or maybe you went to the store, or maybe you went to whatever, and you're like, oh my goodness, traffic is so bad. When I get there, how long is this going to take? I wonder if there's going to be a parking spot up front. I hate walking all the way to this store because it's so far. It's just, are we going to have to wear a mask or not? All these things, whatever you're thinking, I don't know. But you're thinking, you're talking to yourself. And so it's so important to recognize the reality that we become what we think about. And if we're thinking about those kinds of things that I just shared, we're going to have a negative attitude and experience when we walk into the store. It's going to overflow onto our kids. It's going to overflow onto the people we interact with. Now, in relation to success in life, if you honestly believe that success only is arrived and derived from who you know, from, growing up in the right side of the tracks, from, just kind of having the magic touch, if you will. I would venture to say that you are in a camp that is probably never going to be successful until you change your mindset. Now you're like, Mike, that's kind of harsh. I don't like hearing that. That's not real positive. No, but it's the truth. It is the truth. Because your attitude and what you think about, your mindset and what you think about is crucial. If you don't believe you can achieve something and you got the stinking thinking in your mind, right? You are not going to try. There's no way you're going to step out and take that chance, because success is a risk. It takes risk. But it's calculated risk, and you're thinking through why and when and how, and you try and follow these procedures and steps, and guess what? Along the way, you're going to be in a place where you're going to run into failure. If you want to succeed, you got to really become friends with failure, because it's part of the journey. And if you're in a place where your mindset is in such a way where you are always going towards the negative, you are going to become what you think about. You're not going to be the success, because you're not going to take that next step when you get hit in the face with something that comes along your way, and you're going to, I knew this wouldn't work out. I knew this wasn't going to be okay. See, you go right back, you revert right back to that stinking thinking. And it's so crucial that we understand this fundamental principle in life, that we become what we think about. There's a wonderful verse that I love in Proverbs 3, chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. And it says this: trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not unto your own understanding, and in all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Now, what I love about that verse is the fact that it actually takes the perspective off of us, right? Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct your paths. So it takes the perspective off of us, and it actually places it on God, where it should be anyways. And now we're in a place where we're saying, okay, I know that part of my success in fulfilling what I'm supposed to fulfill in life, right, is essential. In other words, in order for me to do that, it's essential that I place my trust in an environment that is bigger than me. and that's on God, right? That's so important. Now, I don't know what your view of God is. I remember what Zig Ziglar said about God one time. He said, there's not many things that you know in life with absolute certainty. But there are three things, and I've adopted these three that I agree with. There are three things that I know with absolute certainty. You ready for this? Number one, there is a God. Number two, it ain't me. And number three, it ain't you either, okay? So let's get over ourselves and let's realize that there is a plan for your life. 2 + 2 is 4. It's finite. Truth is obtuse, right? There's a plan for your life. And when we focus on finding that, seeking that out, reading truth, what happens is, going back to what I started the show with, when you become what you think about, what happens is you're starting to think about things that are beyond you, which means your mindset starts to get beyond you, which means your dreams start to get beyond you, which means your goals and aspirations and desires get beyond you. And when that happens, you actually start to walk into things that are greater than you. And why that's so important is your mindset is starting to shift. You're starting to think about other things. You're starting to think about greater things. You're starting to think about other people. And now you are literally in a place where you are other people focused. You're thinking about solving other problems that folks have. How can I add value to the world instead of taking from it? That's the importance of shifting your mindset. And that's why the idea that we become what we think about is so crucial, because it really enables us to walk into a place of saying, okay, if I'm only on this planet for a season of time, a finite season of time, James tells us this life is like a vapor, here today, gone tomorrow. We're in this planet for a finite period of time, and if that's the case, what am I going to contribute? What value am I going to add? What kind of life am I going to live? And you know what? I got to get started right now. Get started now to really fundamentally change my mindset. Maybe you're in a place, and I'll leave you with this, where you say, you know what? I don't want to live the same kind of lifestyle, and I don't want to live the same kind of life that my parents lived or my grandparents lived. Well, good for you. Now, you can build on what you grew from, right? What you came from. But you can make sure that you can say, I want to do things differently. Now, by the way, I'm not just talking about monetary success here. Because what is success? Well, success is someone that is working towards something they passionately want to do. Maybe you want to be a mom. That's wonderful. Be the best mom you can be. Maybe you want to be a dad. Maybe you want to be a teacher. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to be whatever you want to be. Maybe you want my job. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, work at it with all of your heart. Right? And focus on what you need to do so that way you can add more value. And when you add more value, as you've heard me say before, the more value you add, the more ability you have to command greater income. It's just the way it is. You're solving bigger problems. That all starts with your mind. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today about the fact that you become what you think about. Don't forget that. Listen to this again and again and again, because you're going to need reminded of this each and every day of your life until it's ingrained in your mind and you literally are now taking actionable steps to be positive in everything that you do. The other thing that I always like to encourage you to is the fact that I know that you know 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 people that you're just texting throughout the day, and you need to make sure that you're sharing that with someone so that way they can get the information that they need and literally be in a place where you're empowering them to change their mindset as well. As always, we want to leave this show with the idea and thought that my desire is to encourage and challenge you to live on purpose so you can live with purpose. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell, like this show really, and share with someone else in the process. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next show.